In the year 2000, one company dominated the world of home entertainment. A giant with over 9,000 stores, 84 million loyal customers, and revenues in the billions. That company was Blockbuster. Today, only one remains. A lonely relic in Bend, Oregon. What happened? How could an empire of this magnitude simply vanish? The answer lies in a single meeting, a single decision, and a single moment of laughter that cost them everything. To understand the fall, you must first understand the height. At the turn of the millennium, Blockbuster wasn't just a company. It was a cultural phenomenon, a Friday night ritual. Their business model was simple and brutally effective. But their real secret weapon, the engine that drove a huge part of their profits, was something their customers universally hated: late fees. In the year 2000 alone, Blockbuster raked in an astonishing $800 million from these penalties. That was 16% of their entire revenue. They had built an empire on punishing their customers. Meanwhile, in the shadow of this giant, a small, struggling startup was trying a different approach. They were called Netflix. In 2000, Netflix was a tiny, money-losing company, a casualty of the dot-com bubble burst. Their idea was radical, almost laughable at the time. DVDs by mail. No stores, no lines, and most importantly, no late fees. The founder, Reed Hastings, had started the company out of his own frustration after being charged a $40 late fee for the movie Apollo 13. He knew the pain point, and he built a business around solving it. Bleeding cash and desperate for a lifeline, Reed Hastings and his co-founder Mark Randolph decided to do the unthinkable. They would fly to Dallas, Texas, to the headquarters of their biggest rival, and propose a partnership. Their plan was simple. Blockbuster would buy Netflix for $50 million. In return, Netflix would become Blockbuster's online brand. They would run the website, manage the DVD by mail service, and Blockbuster would promote them in their 9,000 stores. It was a perfect synergy of clicks and mortar, a bridge between the old world and the new. The meeting was set. Hastings and Randolph, two young entrepreneurs, walked into the lion's den to face Blockbuster's CEO, John Antioco, a seasoned executive at the top of his game. They laid out their pitch, their vision for the future of home entertainment. They explained how the internet was changing everything. And then they made their offer. Reed Hastings looked across the table and said the words, $50 million. Mark Randolph, in his book, recalls watching Antioco's face at that exact moment. For most of the meeting, the CEO had been a polished professional, nodding and listening intently. But as Hastings said the price, a strange expression crossed Antioco's face. The corner of his mouth turned up. It was just for a second, but Randolph knew instantly what was happening. John Antioco was struggling not to laugh. He thought it was a joke. The idea that this tiny, failing dot-com company was worth $50 million was, to him, absurd. The meeting went downhill quickly after that. Blockbuster wasn't just uninterested, they were dismissive. They saw Netflix not as an opportunity, but as a tiny niche business with no real future. The offer was rejected. There was no counteroffer, just a polite end to the meeting. For Hastings and Randolph, it was a long, quiet, and crushing flight back home. They had offered the keys to the future, and the king of the present had laughed them out of the room. What followed was one of the most brutal shifts in business history. Fueled by the rejection, Netflix doubled down. They survived, they grew, and they waited. Blockbuster, blinded by its own success and addicted to its late fee revenue, failed to adapt. They eventually launched their own online service, but it was too little too late. Their debt mounted, reaching nearly $1 billion. In 2010, the inevitable happened. Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy, and Netflix? The company that was laughed at for asking for $50 million? Today, it's a global streaming titan worth over $300 billion. It produces its own award-winning movies and shows, and has fundamentally changed how the entire world consumes media. That $50 million price tag now represents less than 0.02% of its value. It stands as the most expensive laugh in corporate history. The story of Blockbuster and Netflix is more than just a business case study. It's a cautionary tale about arrogance, the danger of ignoring innovation, and the catastrophic cost of being unwilling to disrupt your own success. Blockbuster didn't fail because of Netflix. It failed because its leaders couldn't see a future beyond their own profitable, but deeply flawed, present. They were too busy collecting late fees to notice the world was changing around them. Blockbuster's biggest mistake? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this look into business history, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more stories of epic wins and tragic failures. Thanks for watching.